I am re-recording this intro because last time I started it, it kind of cut it halfway through. So, rather than showing the main menu and the honestly somewhat butchered-looking Renev there on the main menu, I'm going to do it here in the screen in her hero selection gear stuff. So, welcome to my Let's Play Age of Wonders 4, a mythical empire builder kind of game. This is a bit of a first time go around. I'm going to be attempting to do a full Let's Play, and part of the Let's Play is to see how things go. So video format may shift, it may not, we'll find out. And I might attempt to do different setups, different styles, depends how things go. Kind of going into the somewhat brand new. I did do a Let's Play in the past. That was quite a few years ago, though. Chrono Dragon joined me for a Let's Play on EDF 4.1, which we did complete. But at the time, I had an injury that made editing legitimately actually painful. Years later, hopefully that is not the case, and we'll see how things go. So part of the goal of this Let's Play, on top of trying to figure out how the video thing may work for me, is also, for the sake of this kind of game, is generally go over what I do and why I do. I know every now and then I've had a friend or two who ask me, how do you do this? How do you get there? And part of my answer is, don't know. Because I tend to autopilot this kind of game. I enjoy it, but it's a lot of it's passive for me, if that makes sense. I don't full on think about it until things get dicey. Once things get dicey, then I either win or I lose. But yeah, so that's a general gist of what this intro is going to be covering. If you have any feedback, of course, make sure to post it in the comments below. I'm going to be attempting to do this on both YouTube and Rumble. That I'm aware of. It is a rather untapped one in Rumble, but I might be misinformed. We will find out, I guess, as time goes by. And while I'll be doing a primary focus on strategy games, because that's my main thing, I like my turn-based strategy. Used to be RTS, real-time strategy, but those have been kind of going more towards the esports poison, so I try to avoid those. Although a good, slower-paced RTS that doesn't have battles resolved in 2 seconds because devs expect their players to have attention problems. I'll be playing some of those as well. I'll be doing other games as well, sometimes with my friends online. Might have something cooking for another game, we'll find out. But yeah, as far as it comes to this game, we'll be taking a adventure with Renev Snav, a young, well, what started as a young mage. She's ascended now, but I'm also exploring how the new summoning mechanics have been changed. Paradox and Triumph Studios, can you stop editing how they play? I like summoning. You don't need to keep nerfing it or changing it. It can stay the same through about at least 2 major patches, please. It doesn't need to change every single major patch. Not all of us are PvP sweats that seem to think everything has to be overpowered or useless. Thank you. And well, I could go over some of the other episodes already that I've already recorded. I think I'll have to leave it there. If you want to see how this goes, you'll just have to watch the series. Anyway, so we're going to get started here. Going over the new game. I don't do a lot of some of the settings, so we'll just be going with one of the custom realms. A lot of these are made for private multiplayer games with my friends and I, although sometimes I will save them and just use them as single player, see how things go. A lot of them are named Custom Realm because for a while there, Paradox didn't Actually, Paradox and the company who made this game didn't exactly fix that for some time, so there's a lot of those. We usually have a little bit of storyline, rough storyline happening on them. I don't think I'll do that for this particular game yet. We'll find out, I guess. What do we got on this? Blocked underground. You're not sure. We'll start off with a basic surface-only game. Yeah, we'll stay on normal. I don't mind simultaneous turns for this game because everything goes at the same time. Usually it does mean the AI goes first, but that also means that you can also better act accordingly. If you know what's going to happen, you can position yourself for it. And it looks like, right, I forgot that they also save the powers as well. These were all made for a whole story thing. It's a version of, well, Demons and Umbra. The two powers going at. So it can be an interesting situation. I think I'll leave them as is. I might explain them as we run into them, provided they don't exactly mess up. And I'm going to play as one of my OG story powers. Their leader, Renev, of the Malerna. Partially because we'll see just how she plays now, and we'll see if they can avoid messing with her build in the patches, because for some apparent reason, people can't stop complaining or complimenting summoning. So Paradox and let me quickly refamiliarize myself with who exactly made the game, not just the publisher. Triumph Studios. If Triumph could stop messing with summoning and nerfing them because a few bad actors in the PvP scene can't stop using them, bastards, then maybe I won't be constantly going, so how's my faction play today? Paradox. So we'll see how that goes. And I think we will just get started. I think all the other settings are where they're supposed to be. Although that can be sometimes quite a bit. Sometimes the happenings can happen quite often, in which case it can be a little awkward. I have to decide how long I want to make this episode. But this is kind of off the cuff as we go. I don't exactly have a full plan here. This is a wing it, and hopefully we go from there. Yeah. I guess here we go. So we're going to travel to the realm first. Avoid the void. That's interesting because we're going into a map with void pockets. Now we're activating the world gate. You never know. Someone released the dogs. That's my Discord. Not yours. And in we go. Yeah, Renev and the Malerna. They are based around being able to summon using magic origin units specifically. I gave them keen-sighted because I want their support to have the range and the accuracy. Quick reflexes because evasion. They're resistant to magic, but they do, as of the last major patch, I gave them a debuff in physical defense because that'll give me I think that gave me the ability to have keen sighted as well. They also are perfect artisans. It means a bit of a slower start. However, it does ramp up eventually, and when it does ramp up, it's a pretty nice buff. But it takes time to ramp. Probably not too compatible with multiplayer settings where you have PvP happening and people are eager to rush. And Druidic Terraformers, because this means that the train you're on is generally buffing you in some way, shape, or form. It also reduces upkeep for elemental units, which is benefits directly with this culture and how it's set up. Because summoning, and lots of elementals are summoned / magic origin. Went with a Tome of Beasts, partially just because it allows you to get an early game summoning spell, and they've changed it, thankfully, where this is not a culture thing, this is just a general tome / ability thing, being able to summon in specific creatures based on a tile rather than have it be pure RNG. You can actually get some decent ones going pretty early on. And we have Astral Ward, which basically is a shield pillar. It takes the damage for a specific target and mark as prey. Makes the enemy distracted. It means you do more damage to them as if you had flanked them, but doesn't really matter if you flank them. And also reduces some of their defense, which can be a boon to have happen. If we look at our starting army, we have a little lesser Tide Spirit, a little fella there. Sometimes I feel like his graphics are bugging out if you look at his hand, but anyway. We have the bread and butter of the faction once you get to tier 3 and above, this Summoner. A friend of mine knows the pain of fighting these guys when you have them properly buffed. They can resist tier 4 Templars. He does not like me talking about that. Man, Arctic blizzards. We're gonna have to do some terraforming to fix some of that. But first, we are going to go for, I believe, the Evoker's Abode. Mainly because it gives us a little bit of mana, a little bit of draft, and also gives us production. As Perfect Artisans, production is absolutely key. You do not survive without it. And then I might go... Do I want to go for Stone Conjurer right now? Mystic Projections. We have a Scout. We have an extra? I must have changed it in that patch, I guess. I don't remember getting an extra bonus. I don't really have a stack for you right now, but anyway. So I'm going to lock in Wild Speaker because I want that. And we're going to go for Call of the Animal. Now we're going to use this girl. See if there's anything on top of that. Oh, that's good. So we've made back our money already. And we're going to use our actual scout. Zoom out here. Okay, so we're largely kind of semi-bottom corner on the right side of the map. Okay. So in theory, that means we should be able to go back here and not have too much of a disaster happen. Of course, there's Sunless. Why not? Echoing Abyss. Alrighty. Well, we should probably go see about getting some experience going for Renev here. We're going to move about here. And a little trick we can do is just take the one who has more movement and use that one to attack. I always have this turned off most of the time because usually if the auto wins, the auto wins. If the auto loses, the auto loses. It doesn't usually get affected too much by being allowed to use abilities, even with good ability. But I will manual this till we get in the swing of things. And she does have the, if memory serves me correctly. Yeah, there's a little bit more damage. Now I do need to keep in mind these birds are flying so they can bypass stuff. Big boy here, he could be a slight issue, but actually, you know what? Let's have you just a little bit back. We'll have Renev park here. We'll have you little guys right here. I guess with that change, my tier 1s at the start of the game are currently parked with 5 armor and 6 resistance. Not too bad. And these guys, do they benefit from it too? It looks like it's only Patrick Origin. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm relearning because some of this stuff has been changed since I last played her faction. Okay. Far from the worst start. So, we'll probably want to have our pole arms actually go after this. Renev can take a hit or a few from the bird. Not like it's going to be the end of the world. And she has her own abilities, like calling in her own reinforcements. She is an Ascended. She has a few games under her belt. She has a number of transformations ready to roll. I mean, Gold Touch for more resistance. Mega Transformation, because I like my serpent girls. Maternal ones. I don't care for the crazy ones, but the maternal ones are nice. So we will call in our reinforcements here. Mainly, so these guys can then get rid of this threat. And then these girls finish them off. I like how there was no hit chance there. I think they're dead. I think they're dead now. You can calm down. And then we will pop this. We got enough. We're early game. And also heals up these guys a little bit too. Now we got temporary health, so we'll make use of that temporary health. Because once you lose your official health, the health is gone as soon as you go back to the strategic map. You don't keep your temporary health at all. So you may as well make use of it. Pole arms get a damage buff against anything large and above. Can be quite handy. And now we can call in another little Tide Spirit as we use the spell. Yeah, these guys are getting even more durable, I guess. Alrighty. And we almost finished these guys off just flat out, so let's just go do that. Ow. He's doing 1 damage to me. He's, as we say in my circles, he's being rude. How dare he? If that's a male bird. Either way, it's a dead bird. And just like that, we got Renev's first level up. Found ourselves a mount already. Renev can't use mounts. He's a serpent. Apparently, impossible to arrange your coils properly. Now, I think this is quite the powerful ability, especially when you get a certain set of unit combos going. If you, especially with the Reavers, if you can give your cannons additional turns, and the enemy just happened to position themselves perfectly, just having one or two heroes with this ability can make the enemy army basically half dead before the battle's even begun. As the saying goes, that's a lot of damage. I do prefer coordinated command a little bit more, partially because you can get more out of it. It does take your hero's turn, but I use my heroes and leaders as more support roles, usually, rather than upfront and personal. Though, that doesn't stop them from being absolute units at the end anyway. The early game, I do prefer on doing army buffing, because then the general performance of your forces is higher than it otherwise would. You know, I'm going to pick that actually for now. Still turn 1, so we don't need to worry too much about that. I can't rush production just yet. It's expensive still. And I think that's turn 1. And we'll put her back into the stack here. Then we'll carry on. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a full turn-by-turn thing. I might skip it here and there at times. Just because sometimes it's not exactly the most entertaining. There's going to be periods where I just don't know what I'm going to say because I've already said what I'm going to say. And I don't think you guys want me going over the same details over and over and over again. Oh, I found our first brigand camp. Well, that's a thing. We're going to deal with some baby spiders first. Now I'm going to auto this. I'm not going to auto this. I'm going to try to keep my stuff alive. Granted, that is a lot of little spiders. The cover doesn't really mean a whole lot here. We might be able to somewhat stifle them by blocking off a flank. In doing this, it should allow us to be able to effectively corral them, which could be quite important. Using the positioning of the terrain, like there's this house here and then a stockpile, and having that there makes it hard for the enemy to completely surround us because they have 5 frontliners while we only have 2. Technically 3 if we pull out this, but we should probably save that because it's only a certain set of time that it's out for. So, avoiding wasting it, we should do this instead. Notice how they're trying to fan out. This is a thing I find in most Empire builders, Total War, even this game. The AI likes to just fan out like no tomorrow, and be annoying at times. But in the interest of stopping the enemy from surrounding us entirely, what I'm going to do is I'm going to summon in this here, because we still effectively have them bottlenecked, which is going to be a problem for them to deal with. So that flank is effectively handled now. I could move up to attack, but I kind of would prefer if they come to me.
Huh?
One thing about me, I prefer being a more defensive player. I'm not all about the attack. I don't believe that everything has to be all about being on the offensive, always being the first to act. Sometimes, allowing the enemy to stumble into you is the best action you could take. As in stumbling towards you, sometimes that's when they make their biggest mistake. So they're going to wail on that guy, and they're going to do a decent amount of damage, which is okay, to be expected. But that's also why we have stuff like Soother. Did this bounce to another target? Oh, I see. Yeah, there we go. We want the front line to be healed exclusively. And then we are also going to pop this, which gives our summons all more healing and power. And because they're really wanting to focus on these guys, we're going to shield them. And then we're also going to just throw up another frontliner. And now, all of a sudden, we're actually stronger than when we started. That's after they did their attack. I'd say that's a good turnabout. And because they're also wet now, these mages here do more damage, which is always nice. We pop this, weaken them so that way they don't do as much. Yeah, let's reduce the capability of actually fighting. One of them resisted it. How dare you? Who gave you permission to resist? That is not allowed. But let's get the kill where we can. And we're going to make these guys all injured. And then we're going to get the kill with these guys. And there we go. And then we'll weaken up these guys a little. Alright, that's that turn. Suddenly, their entire encompassing operation has been reduced to a mere... it's rather pathetic now, actually. Now, I'm going to do this because it means they do more damage, because they're a charge unit. So the more tiles they move, the more damage they do. I think up to about 3 tiles? Yeah, 3 hexes. And we can just go... Oof. And we can just... Boof. And ensure that they're extra hard and dead. Because... we're not in range. Actually, we could be in range. Oh, that's why not. And just like that, we will live. I mean, officially, we only have 2 frontliners. But with these 2, we can get an additional 2 more, which is nice. Ah, yes, an ability I'll never use. I'm against using a lot of undead, evil stuff. I know it's a tool, but some tools only certain kinds of people make use of. Which might be a bit problematic just in some opinions, but that's for them to deal with and me to continue on with life. I'm going to get a quarry there. I would get a farm usually right away, but our first real farming sector is a few tiles out. But getting production going sooner rather than later can be a buff. Having slower population growth could be a handy thing early on because we need to also ensure the happiness factor is met, which can be tricky to do when you have low production and lots of population growth. All of a sudden it's very easy to make your city very unhappy with you. Right. We also need one more sector. I'm going to burn the influence for this. This was the multiple folds, so that way, A, I get a bit more research going, but also B, I actually have a city sector to heal in right now that's nearby my leader. Again, I kind of want to save the food for this sector because it's got a sheep. It's got a farm that'll boost the food output. Because we have no respite on, this makes things a bit more tactical, not just endless expansion and expect everything to go hunky-dory. I'll speak fine. I speak it's fine. Our front line's kind of hurt, but you know what? Yeah, we can take this. We can take it. I say as we're not going to be autoing this. Bunch of flyers. So you will need to run over this way. We're going to be taking steady damage till we're done this fight. But I'm reasonably sure that we'll be able to handle it. We're getting mana as horses. We have a healer which we can proc right off the bat. I wish I could tell exactly where I want this to bounce to. Damn it. Anyway, we need to heal these guys. And we'll see if we can actually bring these girls in for healing. They seem to be taking damage faster than we are. That works from moi. Oh yeah, we also have defensive formation, so we become even more evasive with that. Right. So those guys are going to be largely unavailable for this fight. And well. They're still going to be here. Yeah, let's just do that. These are always one bastard that resist. So this could be a slight problem, but oh, here's your unit card screening, I guess. What we can do is move her here, so we can move here, so we can call this in right here. Our heal's not quite off cooldown just yet, but I'm going to engage in what's called the reduce the damage output move here. So they only do 9 damage to me versus 21. Sometimes getting the kill isn't the most important thing immediately when you have different options and the greater scheme of things. Sometimes weakening the enemy is the best course of action you could take instead of always just flat out killing them. So for this guy, they're only going to do 9 damage, 9 damage. So their DPS is greatly reduced. They'll do 15 to this guy, but he, as you can see from the percentage of the health bar here, or health circle, whatever you want to call that, the damage output is greatly reduced. So now we can focus on this flank, which is under more immediate danger. There's 2 full health guys. They're not debuffed. They're not weakened. So we're just going to triple this squad. Now this situation right here, going for the kill is our best course of action because these guys have to move to get within range. They're not already here. So if I just do this now, that threat is now eliminated. Which will allow me to now focus in on these guys and bring them down. Now, even if they focus fire, they can't score any kills now. And if they spread their damage out, that's actually better for them because full health stuff can take a bit more punishment. I'll just take that. These poor guys are rather chilly, aren't they? So I will heal this guy. That way they can take the hit. Poke the thing until it's dead multiple times. Have her just nuke that. And then have these guys just finish that off. And there we go. Absolutely no losses. And it leveled up from an all. So yay. I just realized I forgot something. We'll just have to try to deal with it. Alright, so she is leveled up again. I could go for reducing the chances of enemy statuses working on adjacent friendly unit. Statuses in this game, well, they were, it's a bit of a funny situation, that actually. I'm gonna go for the healing, because I want my troops to be pretty good shape later. Kind of funny for statuses in this game. When the game first came out, the devs weakened statuses thinking they were far too strong. And over the last number of big patches and updates, they've been actually buffing statuses to be beyond where they were at the start of the game's launch. I just find that quite amusing. So now she's basically full health, so we're going to have her pop over here, start making her way to this camp, because we want to deal with that before it wakes up, ideally. I'll pick up that Astral Echo. Maybe she have a buff in this little guy. I can promote him for 4. He is a soldier. And if we get him up to Legendary, he becomes a Tide Spirit, which is a Tier 3. Quenching Phase. This guy actually synergizes quite well with the Culture type, because the Culture type just does electric damage by default. And, okay, these guys don't do that. But, it's a synergistic combo thanks to the fact that electric does more damage when the target is wet. You know, because water plus electricity equals you dead. But, it reduces your resistances too. So that is always a nice thing to combo if you have the option. Pick up some more mana because we are using it. And then I think we will rush that. Get it online sooner rather than later. And then we'll start that. And now we are technically a bit on the broke end of things, but you know what? That is okay. Being broke early game is just a part of the game. It's fun. Alright, now that we got that one research done, we will now research our tier 2 as the AI does its turn, and sometimes the game doesn't always factor in some stuff too well. We'll start proccing that. Getting that going early will be good, because if I can replace the Arcane Guard with, I don't know, a tier 2 set of wild spiders, that will give me an army that is capable of already growing to tier 3 with multiple units. Which, if you can get going early game, that is actually pretty dang good. Alright, so we're in a forest tile here, which is where we want to go. What do we have for options here? Well, this was a bit of a waste. Early game, I guess an elephant wouldn't be too bad. Crocodile. None of these evolve. That's what we want to go for, is a unit that evolves. And none of these do. I don't even think this does. Well, we will take the elephant, because it is a bit of a harder hitter for a tier 2. It's a charge unit. It has an okay amount of HP. Granted, it is a recruit, so it's not like it's got any of the health and defense bonuses. It is a juggernaut. Low maintenance. The low maintenance is actually pretty good. That's pretty decent to happen. And I'm going to buff these guys. And now they're an elite. So, more health, more defenses. Means they will live longer, hopefully. One can hope. I'll have the elephant tag along because why not? Oh, so we got strategic resource. I did, by the way, I did see this, but right now we need to make sure that we aren't being harassed. How do we know about that camp right there? We can that. I do know ever since they came out, I do find myself drawn to brain fart. I do like the... Isn't it listed here? Is it not listed? Fudge cakes. I forget the exact name that this species is built on at the moment, but I do like them. Although, granted, I am a fan of my tall, good-looking gals. So what are we up against here? We're up against Dawn Defense. It's the evil tabloids. We're up against the evil journalists. Oh wait, does that mean we're just up against them in SPC or something like that? They like to say they're leaders of light, that they're the good guys. I'm showing my side of the beliefs, I guess, here. Alrighty, so we got those guys. We got some orcs, some wild orcs. Blue wild orcs. They are strong, they are hardy, they are ferocious. They like the crocodiles. That's why they're not green. They didn't want to be the same color. And they're Umbra disciples. Oh, lovely. Okay. And they're immune to disease. I think that's, isn't that part of the crocodile thing, I guess? Might be. And these girls, who are orc women, which with the blue skin, they just look like buff girls. They got large feet, though. Alrighty. Firecrack's boon. Inflict disease. Oh, I see how this combos. Okay, so what probably happens here... I haven't used this particular primal yet at all. But I think what happens here... Because they can inflict disease, that's why they're immune to disease. Because it has a chance of spreading. And if your army was constantly nerfing itself, that wouldn't exactly be the best, because it is RNG based. I'm going to auto, see if we lose anything. We do lose some things, so we're going to go in. We have elephant. I'm not too worried about keeping the elephant because, again, that was a bit of a failed experiment there. I was hoping for a unit that would at least evolve. Evolving is one of the best ways for this culture type to actually expand its forces. Failure to do that, well, you're kind of just nerfing yourself. And that's not the most ideal. So we're just going to move. I can be a little haphazard with this because I'm not too worried about them reaching me right away. And AI can sometimes be a bit dense. But sometimes that can be amusing. Those guys are probably gonna, yeah, they're gonna spend the rest of this battle frozen. Actually, you know what? Seeing as I don't really care if you survive, we'll actually have you... Actually, no. You can actually get around quite a bit. I'll have you guys move up here. Have you kind of face here. Facing is important in this game. Failure to recognize that is a good way to get yourself killed. Because the angle of your unit does matter. Because you do more damage if you flank the enemy. Yeah. Go for it. When I can upgrade her equipment, Renev can get some hard-hitting abilities, and with that, being able just to proc that every now and then. Each strength gives you 10% more damage. So if you do up to 5, that's 50% more damage. And in this game, that can... well, not bottleneck. That can grow quite a bit. Yeah, they're flanking around. That's because this is quite the bottleneck we got them forced into here. Now I'm going to show up over here. Right, I forgot about that. Thankfully I could click that button because I haven't had anything affected yet. We're going to do this instead. As we do the displace thing. You know, if we do it here, and we shunt them here, and we stop them from being able to go around. Boof. All the boofies. Now these are shield units. Apparently, according to some of the community, one of the weakest types in the game. I don't know. I prefer them myself. Then again, I like the defensive thing. We're just going to weaken them up here. And then we're just going to kindle. Because that's what we do. Then we got this situation, but you know what? There's a lot more support on this flank. It's my army. Than this flank, and I'll support the elephant. As my friends are talking on Discord. I should probably need that. Well, I can't really summon where I want to summon them, but you know what? We'll just do it here. And make these archers regret the day they existed. We'll blow pipes. They could probably disengage, though. But we'll 70% fail. Away! Gotta love that times. Can always be fun dealing with that. So, yeah. I have evasion. I have this. I have that. Proceeds to get hit the entire time. Let's stop you. Bonk. RNG, you're failing me. Why are you failing me so? Did I offend you or something? Oh, who am I kidding? It's RNG. RNG is always offended. If it's not offended, you've done some mod. So usually they're pretty quiet, but for some reason they're not. Yeah, I'll definitely have to fix that for next. Faster connection and defensive, yeah. Well, let's get these guys all nice and wet. And then we will zap the living daylights out of them for multiple grazes. Alrighty. I guess we could do this. And then we will pop this over here. Take them out. Have all our water guys become icicles? No, I don't think you can look at them like ice cream, though. I don't think they'd appreciate that either. And there we go. Even with my elementals being frozen half the time, they are still working as a nice wall. Walls are nice. Walls are good. Walls are useful. Alrighty. Well, I think for our first episode, we will call it here. I might do a bunch of these before I upload them. And we'll see what kind of editing I do as time goes on. But, yeah. This is Little Lost Dragon playing Age of Wonders. I forgot to give a thing of the title, didn't I? I'll have to remember to do that for the next episode. But this is Little Lost Dragon signing off of Age of Wonders 4. And cut.